hope this week has gone swimmingly so far. As we move into the latter half of the week, we need to ensure that we um, create structure within the wisdom and the knowledge and all of the intellect that we have received over this period of time. So, cup of coffee, and let's talk about Woden. Before we do, New Reality TV is certainly one of those places where we're offered a plethora of views, of perspectives, of possible paths forward that we can use to gain better mental space and actually achieve the peace and the success that we really want. So take some time, newrealitytv.com. There you can find many different perspectives upon our spiritual journey. So I hope you will check them out. In addition, I want to call out my website, NorseWhispers.com. There you can find our friends, individuals and organizations that have supported the show in some way. And uh, count yourself amongst them as you consider supporting our show, maybe some advertising or sponsoring, as you can see around the screen. Finally, I'd like to call out my coaching for those of you who may need a little guidance, maybe some wisdom to kind of help steer your path. You're more than encouraged to check out NorseWhispers.com/coaches. So I'm sure you can get there. And as always, for those of you who haven't had the chance yet, there it is, and have a few coins dangling in your pocket, need to put them to good use, by all means, check out our tip jar and provide that tip for us. We can always use more support in all of the things that we do, whether it be online or whether it be traveling throughout the world at this point. So I encourage you, if you haven't already, you have those extra coins and they're dangling in your purse, driving you maybe a little mad, by all means, drop them in our tip jar and we will take care of them for you. So, Doc. Today we're talking about the wisdom of Woden and what was that. And for those of you who are maybe first signing up, maybe all of the new, I do want to call out all of the new subscribers and followers at TikTok, and certainly those of you following us here in the chat on Facebook. Welcome. Firstly and foremost, welcome, and thank you so much for joining and helping us to further broadcast this message to those who may need it. But for those of you who are new, Woden was the Germanic version of what later became known as Woden. Woden, of course, being the supreme god of the Norse. He was very connected to wisdom. So we see him in many of the sagas where he's in disguise as a traveler, and he's just wandering around in Midgard or wandering around the other realms, attempting to collect wisdom. What is this wisdom? What is it? Wisdom is knowledge plus experiences. So they're like two parts of the pod, okay? So we have knowledge that we gain through multiple, whether it be someone providing it to us via our auditory, whether it be someone providing it via our vision, whatever. We receive intellectual energy from many different sources. And as we interact with this knowledge, with this intellect, we interact with it in a physical way, whether that be an emotional thing, whether that be consciously thinking about it, or whether it be actually hands on, where we actually are moving things and touching things. All of these are considered our experiences. Our experiences, plus the knowledge, creates now this level of higher knowledge called wisdom. Wisdom includes now interrelationships between different knowledge stacks. So, how do, as an example, how do motorcycles interact with motor vehicles? Kind of carte blanche. How do they interact with roads, right? Gravel paths, whatever. So we're taking the motorcycle, the idea of the knowledge stack of motorcycles, and now we're applying it to all the related kind of knowledge stacks. Because we know about cars, we know about roads, but now we're going to interact motorcycles with roads and with cars. Okay? So we're kind of getting this much bigger picture. That's wisdom. Now, in the stories I was told as a child, coffee. In the stories I was told as a child, Woden would venture into the realms where he would encounter the Norner sisters. The Norner sisters, there are three, very much compared to the fates of the Greek understanding. These three fates would introduce him to the Well of Erd. The Well of Erd, of course, one of the three wells that supported the roots of Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil, of course, being the center tree of the universe, collected from all life forms these experiences. And these experiences would come through the branches and to the trunk and down into the roots, where they would be reflected in these wells. So when Woden would drink from this well, he was gaining those experiences. It was very akin to sitting around in a room full of elders, and the elders are speaking of these experiences that they've had, and they tell these wonderful stories about life back in the day, right? This is the same experience that Woden would have had drinking from the Well of Erd. He's hearing or seeing or processing many, many experiences throughout the realms. Now, in addition, Woden would wind up having to pray for many days and nights as he contemplated all of these experiences he now had. He had to interrelate this. So his mind had to take all of the experiences and figure out how those interacted with the knowledge that he had within his mind. So he may have learned from a book that throwing an apple does this, whatever this is, and as he gained all of these experiences, within this collection of experiences was an experience of throwing an apple. And so he had to take that experience and now apply it to the knowledge stack that he already had of throwing apples, right? So all of these experiences we have in our lives are going to touch some levels of our knowledge that we already have in our brain. So we know cars, they're heavy, they're big, right? Well, some of them are big, some of them are really small, but nonetheless, they're heavy, right? And so when we bump into something with our car, right? we see the damage that's done. Why? Because now you have two large gravity or large masses coming against each other. So some of Newton's laws of physics apply here. But suffice to say, we already knew the car was heavy, and we knew it would do damage. And then we experienced it. That experience then connected to that knowledge. That experience connecting to that knowledge became your wisdom. Does that make sense? Exactly. And our whole lives will be spent obtaining these experiences to prove, support what we have in our minds, what we already know. Sometimes, when these experiences come in and we've never seen such a thing, we have to build the knowledge tower, right? We have to build that knowledge. So we're starting from scratch in that area. But we've already got experiences, so it's already interrelated to other pieces of knowledge within our minds. So this is how we construct our wisdom. Now, today, in this modern day era, one of the things that really seems to cause a lot of struggle with many people is emotion. Emotion's a tough one. Why? Because we know how we should feel, but yet the experiences that we have may or may not support this knowledge, right? So those knowledge stacks of how I feel change quite a bit. They're pretty volatile, right? They're changing quite a bit as we go through different experiences in our lives. So one of the things that we need to think about when we consider meditation, of course, is how do we feel? How do we feel at the moment? And why is this so volatile, right? And so, spending a little bit more time wrapping our minds around how we feel, getting in touch with that, how we feel, and managing it is one of those lessons that we'll learn throughout our physical lifetime. We'll learn how to control emotion and what emotion does to us and what that effect is as we then emit our energy out to the surrounding individuals. So, today, I want you to think about taking an inventory of how you feel. One of the exercises I have always done when I'm feeling, I'm trying to uncover why I feel a certain way, particularly about a certain thing. I start at the upper levels. So what I do is a physical act. Because remember, when we're actively doing something, when our intentions are set towards the direction that we want to go, the universe follows. So we're going to put our backs, physical act, put our backs against a wall. Any wall. Solid wall. Not your cubicles, but a wall. And in your mind, I want you to put all of your memories, all of your past, everything on the other side of that wall. I want you to think of your memories, all that you've been through, everything. I want you to really imagine in your third eye. I really want you to imagine very clearly putting them on a bookshelf behind the wall behind you. I want you to move those back now. We're going to breathe. We're going to relax. We're going to just think about moving the past behind us. And now, with our backs on the wall, we're going to look down. We're looking down our chests, right? And what I want you to see, what you're noting, is what emotional energy is there. What are you feeling? What are the emotions you're feeling? Now, this is a great opportunity to write things down. I'm feeling okay. Okay, question mark. If you ever have to shrug your shoulders when you say something, that's a question mark, right? That means you're not fully committed. If you're fully committed, you will say, hey, I feel great, right? That's what we do. So, we're looking down and we're going to feel, what do we feel? We feel okay. Well, what does okay mean? Okay means that although I do have some struggles in my life right now, I've got it. I've got this. I'm in control. But one of the things that we have when we have, I'm in control right now, if we don't have that zest, the great, we must be cautious, right? Because if some trauma were to come into our life, some kind of psychological, unexpected result of our experiences, it's going to tip the apple cart, right? Well, or when we say okay, we say, why is it just okay? What does okay mean and why? Why is okay okay? Okay? And we're going to start identifying, but I want you to identify in the moment, not the past, in the moment. Now, some of your emotional feelings may be because of things that have happened in your past, and you need to identify those, right? You say, I'm still feeling kind of sad about the experiences of yesterday. Okay, why? Well, I really didn't want that to happen, and this, that, or the other thing, whatever it is, right? First and foremost, I want you to put it into your brain. You can't change the past. The past is gone. Okay, it's gone. You can't change it. You can't alter it. All you can do at this point is adjust how you react to it or how you respond to it. Right? That's all you can do at this point. So it's okay. We're going to write this down. I feel rather sad because of the event, and then, of course, the why. Because of the events of yesterday, whatever that was. Okay? We're going to make notes of these, of how we're feeling in the moment. And I want you to just not think about, the past, not think about anything else. How are we feeling right now? What are the emotional energies that are still alive and well within our bodies? And we'll know it when we close out and we don't think about the bills today. We don't think about our friends and our family and our loved ones. We're pushing all that out of our processing. And what we're going to look at is what's left. And that's our emotional state. How do we feel? What energies are coming from here? Don't worry about what's up here. Think about what's here. How do I feel? Well, I feel kind of silly about having my back on the wall. I feel like I'm supposedly supposed to be doing something of more significance. I feel content. I have those things that I need in my life. Now, as we write this list, we're going to put it together. And you don't have to think of the whys right now. I want you to just write down what you feel first. Okay? So we're going to write these feelings. And the greatest way I always do it, quite honestly, for those of you who are very young, you may not remember this, but there used to be this toy called an Etch-a-Sketch. Anybody remember those? Yeah. Oh, those were wonderful. They were before laptops. Matter of fact, my grandson, we had gotten one. My grandson carried his around for weeks, pretending it was a laptop because everyone around him was older than he was, and they all had laptops. So he wanted to be like everyone else. So he carried his Etch-a-Sketch around like it was his laptop. So, but the Etch-a-Sketch you could kind of draw on with. You had to use the pencil, and you could make a note, and then once you were done, then you just wiped the thing and it went away. Notebook is fine too, but I want you to keep your visual stimulation out, right? So we're going to have our eyes closed, so you may have to practice writing without your eyes. Many people struggle with this, but so we're writing these down, and all I want you to do is identify the feelings. That's all you have to do in this first exercise. Identify your feelings. What are you feeling? Okay. What, and then once you open your eyes again and you can see what you wrote, then we can start discussing the whys. Why do I feel this way? And in the case where we're referring back to something in our past that's creating this feeling, why? Why is that? Why are we doing that? The key here is to clear our mental space. Understand what the emotional state is doing to our mental state. Emotions, by the way, FYI, so you know, emotions take up twice as much energy bandwidth as does just intellectual, right? Just intellect. We gain wisdom or knowledge. Typically, it's these experiences that are just building our knowledge or intellect or imagery. Those types of things require very little. Emotions, however, which is a big part of every particle of energy in the universe, has a big part of emotions, whether it's inciting emotion in you or whether it's conveying emotion from me, right? So your mind won't always interpret that energy the same way I send it, right? This is the act of sympathy. We see some people can be sympathetic, and as they send their sympathetic energy, they send that energy to the other person. The other person may not receive it in the way it was intended. This is part of the physical realm. It's a part of the reality at which we experience every day. Energy can be converted in much the same way that your mind converts the energy that you receive. So when you receive emotional energy from someone else, i.e., someone is being sympathetic to your current position, your current situation, you're receiving energy from them. But have you ever had moments where you really just don't want to hear people being sympathetic to your situation? Or, equally so, there are those people who don't do sympathy well. The intention is there, the desire, the intention is there, but they don't convey it in such a way that it's received that way. This is energy transmission. You have to remember your heart has to key into your mind to emit energy. So while we may be feeling one way, our brain may be feeling another, and when the energy goes out, it's a corrupted version of what's in here. So, this is really the idea of understanding and managing those energies that come in through our experiences. And of course, experiences plus the knowledge establishes wisdom. Now, this is certainly the wisdom that Woden would have been searching for when he drank from the well of Erd. Now, he would do it again in another saga where he would be impaled in his own spear, right? He would be impaled all the way through and hang from Yggdrasil for 9 days and 9 nights without food or water, that he may see the magic of the runes. Again, these are the experiences now. With runes, of course, we're speaking of the magic, the language of magic. Runes, of course, being the alphabet of the Germanic people, simply produced particular sounds. Okay? So, again, he was gaining experiences. So, think about your life, think about your emotional state right now, and then begin to manage the experiences that we have, that we may gain wisdom, right? And it will take time. Experiences come and go. We have many different experiences, and of course, as many different experiences as we can experience about a particular knowledge stack, the more apt we are to build wisdom about it, right? So we become wise in the way of auto mechanics or computer languages. Wisdom is above and beyond where knowledge is. Knowledge is just one part. We need the experience to then complete the cycle and become wisdom, right? So we're going to manage this, but to manage this, we've got to understand this. What's its influence on the energy that we receive? Because remember, all of our sensory input is going to come in through our sensory inputters, wherever they are, and it's going to go through an emotional filter before it reaches the brain, right? So that emotional filter is going to manipulate what our brain processes from this experience. Happens all the time. So when we're right here, we know what's going to happen here. It's better for our processing, right? So we're going to create more wisdom. All right, my friends, I wish you the very best Woden's Day. I look forward to seeing you this evening. Make sure you find us here on any of the platforms, including New Reality TV, where we'll be here tonight to answer one question that you've emailed me, and we'll get you an answer and begin a dialogue, and hopefully answer that question that's driving you, because chances are that question is other people have it as well. So hopefully we can get some answers. All right, so if you haven't asked a question, feel free to stop by the website, northwhispers.com. There you can scroll all the way to the bottom, look to the left, and then you'll see a big orange button. Ask me a question. Bring it. Let's talk. Let's open a dialogue and find an answer. All right, my friends, I wish you the absolute very best Woden's Day. We will see you again tonight, and we look forward to seeing you again. Love and light, my friends.